Hello and welcome. So as part of my clear out, I want to get rid of some stuff, and this will be one of the derailleurs I will not be keeping. It's a Sachs Centera from around about 1997. So Sachs, the German company that acquired Huret, who made derailleurs back in the 80s, I believe, continued to make derailleurs in France, and Sachs was then bought up by SRAM, and you can clearly see the same and similar design of this derailleur compared to a derailleur from a more modern derailleur. In fact, they still kind of make these same similar style derailleurs. So they kind of took the design off Sachs, as far as I'm aware anyway. And there are higher end models of this derailleur. You have the plasma and the quartz, and they also have this composite plastic that's on the exterior. This is the lower end derailleur, and it has here just some regular unpolished steel. It's just an ugly bolt instead of an Allen key bolt. You can clearly see here it's stamped at the back, made in France. It's actually quite funny. I believe you can get SRAM derailleurs from around about 98, 99, and they're still stamped made in France. I don't know when exactly they stopped making them in France. Probably though 99, 2000. So the only thing that this derailleur is good for, other than throwing in the bin, is taking off the jockey wheels that I can always potentially use on another Sachs derailleur. So unfortunately I threw away the front derailleur of this. And what's really bad about the front derailleur on these ones specifically is that the riveted parts that hold the cage plates on the front derailleur break because the material is made out of plastic essentially, and so the rivets don't stay in place and they're popping out. This one I'm sure would probably do eventually the same thing, and I really don't like these derailleurs, mainly because when they get scratched they just lose a ton of plastic instead of on metal derailleurs that kind of take the impact a little bit better. Rear cage here is made out of metal, but you have one part that's made out of plastic here at the back, and the actual jockey wheel bolts are Phillips instead of a nice Allen bolts. There's nothing you can do on this derailleur. In fact, it's very similar to the SRAM X5, so you can't undo the top knuckle and remove or service the spring on the interior, and you have a very simple part here where the hanger bolt just pops out instead of actually being able to be serviced or have any spring action on the interior. So although Sachs did eventually disappear and get bought up, another French company, I think it's called ICS, did acquire their manufacturing plant, or probably their equipment to make derailleurs, because around about in the year 2000 you're going to have Mars derailleurs that come out, and they kind of continued making Sachs quartz derailleurs. In fact, you can see here on the back it's also saying made in France. Has exactly the same stamp as the back of that derailleur. This is obviously a lot nicer, and this one I'm not throwing away. In fact, I'm going to install this on a bike very soon. So Mars only kind of continued making bike parts for about 3 years, I think, something like that. I read an article about that a while back. Nothing that's really interesting about the derailleur. So the reason why I'm going to keep these jockey wheels is that they appear to be the same. And what's funny about this Mars derailleur is that the jockey wheels still have Sachs printed on them. You'll see here, this is where the cable's meant to run through, and that's basically the stopper, just a piece of molded plastic. And then obviously the cable comes here at the back and runs around here to be attached to the bolt right there. So as for Sachs, unfortunately this was the end for them, but I guess the design lasted into SRAM, and this will be the end of Sachs, at least for this derailleur in my home. It's going to go now in the bin once I take the jockey wheels off. So thank you for listening, and until next time.